Hey everyone, it's Lee. It is currently November 4th. Happy birthday, Lucy. And it's 3:40 in the morning. I'm not particularly tired, so I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, movies. As many of you know from that other channel, I was attending the Austin Film Festival last week and a bit of the week before, and one of the films that I saw was 127 Hours. This was directed, or rather, this is directed by Danny Boyle, who directed a film some of you may be familiar with called Slumdog Millionaire, and it's starring James Franco, as well as Amber Tamblyn, Kate Mara, and Clemence Poesy. This film is based on the true story of Aaron Ralston. Some of you may be familiar with him. He was the hiker who, in May of 2003, was hiking in a very remote part of Utah when he succumbed to a boulder in a canyon, and he was trapped for 5 days prior to very brutally freeing himself, and then he had to scale a 65-foot cliff and hike an additional 8 miles prior to his being rescued. Now, this film is very, very intense. Very intense. And the pairing of Danny Boyle and James Franco was simply phenomenal. Because I knew James Franco was a decent actor prior to seeing this, but a lot of times when people think of James Franco, they think, oh, he's the cute guy in movies. But he was absolutely phenomenal in this, because it could have been a boring train wreck, but it wasn't. In fact, this was very, very intense. Very intense. There is some comic relief, of course, being directed by a Brit. You have toilet humor in this, believe it or not, because I think like every single British directed film I've ever seen, there was some type of toilet humor in there, like every single one. But it needed it. It really needed it because it's intense. It is very intense. Now, in the beginning of this, you're just on this wild ride because Aaron Ralston is an obvious adrenaline junkie, and he just has this very sort of reckless, devil may care, cavalier type of attitude, and he's downright irresponsible. What he does is incredibly stupid. He's going hiking out in the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't tell anybody that he's going. So no one knows that he's missing. No one knows where he went. And so it's stupid. It's sort of like the things that happened on there. It reminds me a lot of that show I Shouldn't Be Alive, because a lot of what you see on there is the people's own fault for getting in that situation in the first place. Now, a lot of them, it's just like pure accident. But sometimes you're just like, you really put yourself there. And in this case, he really did put himself in this really, really bad situation. And it's just basically the whole realization that if you're going to dance to the music, you have to pay the piper. And he paid a really, really big price. But he learned his lesson. And that's what's important. Because what he did was very stupid. But he's not a stupid guy. And in fact, he graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Carnegie Mellon, which is not an easy feat by any means. So he's not a stupid guy, but he did a very stupid, irresponsible thing. And he paid for it, he learned from it. And you can see him, Aaron Ralston, in a lot of interviews right now. He has a book out, I think it's called Between a Rock and a Hard Place, of course. And he recently did an interview on the Learning Channel where he talks about his ordeal. And it's really enthralling. How they did this story is just very enthralling. It's very intense. The woman next to me in the theater, she did a lot of, oh, like, ah, just that throughout the whole thing. Her husband He dropped his drink. He was doing the whole like sweaty palm rub on the trousers, like the legs of his trousers. I can't even talk right now. And it's intense. This is one of the most intense films I've seen. It's intense. The sound editing of this will just blow you away. The visuals are awesome. It's just a really, really well done film. And once again, James Franco was phenomenal in this. Just really, really outstanding acting. So this, if anyone had any doubts of James Franco's acting abilities, you won't have any after this because he just did an amazing job. Because basically the whole film is him, just very close of him. And it could have been a nightmare to watch. It wasn't. It was riveting. It's intense and riveting. It is graphic. There are some very graphic parts in this. So I'm just warning you right now. A lot of people actually got up and left during some of the more intense scenes. But, overall, it's an amazing film. Definitely go see it. It's coming out this Friday, November 5th. And also Fair Game is also coming out, I believe, this Friday. So go check those both out if they're playing near you. Definitely worth it. And so I will be talking about more films later on this week on here, as well as on the Rough Cuts on Sunday. Because I saw a lot of really great productions. There was Rainbow's End, Spirit Molecule, Fair Game, of course, Made in Dagenham, High School, which is hilarious, Zonad, also hilarious, Adios Mundo Cruel, Embargo, which I didn't care much for. There are just a lot of really great films coming out. And also, one last thing. Thank you so much to Harry Knowles with Ain't It Cool News for inviting me to Button-Amathon 12. I'm so excited. So excited. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you all next time. So, talk about them here and Rough Cuts on Sunday. And also look at the other Rough Cutters. They're very good when they're there. They're very good. That was terrible of me to say, but it's sadly true. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.